What's going on, YouTube modeling community? Pappy here at West Georgia Rods and Customs. Welcome back to part 2 of the Unified Scale Auto Content Creators of YouTube, better known as the USACC group build. This year we're building the old 68 Dodge Dart. You can build it either as a 440 or a big Hemi, 426 Hemi. I elected to do the Hemi. And we're also going to do it as a Pro Street. And as you saw in part 1, I showed everyone how to take one of the MCV products back half and get everything laid out, ready to cut, to make the cut, to pull the original back half off, which we've already done here. And we went ahead last night and got everything glued in as far as epoxied in. Now, if you remember, I spoke about earlier about the pieces of styrene right here, and all I did was just make it a little bit longer. It went over from the from this narrowed cross member right here all the way over to the very edge, and all that did, it was allowed me to have more than just the little thin strip of the back half. I just glued it in like this, so that way I had something to glue on to, and it looks more aesthetic, like a frame really would be put together on a Pro Street car. So with that being said, we got everything glued in with 5-minute epoxy. I let it dry out overnight. Then I got up before I left to go to work this morning. I pulled the tape off of the, because I had it flipped over and had the popsicle sticks up under this part right here to keep everything level and square. Now, one of the things that I talked about yesterday on part 1 was the doing as far as building your or making your grid right here. Having your 4-point, and remember the measurement of 4.44 that I had from center to center of the axles, front axles, rear axle, and we had it transferred on this. And if you can see right here, in this point right here, this is where the the rear axle housing originally was at, and that's how I achieved to go from from front axle to back axle. That way I can transfer it onto here, know where to cut this, and moving forward, we've already done that. So that's why I when I told you that saving this portion is always critical to keep for a little bit. Don't throw it away. Heck, you could use it for something else. Who knows? Might even use it for a gas tank for some other project. But we went ahead, got it glued in, and everything, as you can see, which we've got a nice, our center axis is right here. We got our front axle, back axle. This piece from MCV products is kind of mocked up, so everything is center to center. Everything looks good, and we can now, which really I really don't have no need to save this piece of paper now. So what I'll do is I'll just take this, and I usually just save it for just a doodle on or something like that, make measurements and do math on. All right, so if you're wondering about who to get the back half from, go over to MCV Products. That's mcvproducts.net, and you can order this up. As far as the back half, it gets you some of these big fat Pro Street meats to build this, just build this thing out and get it all tubbed out and everything. So, all right, we also talked about yesterday of taking we said to save this piece as well, because once you flip it over, you've got to fit, this thing does not automatically fit into this cavity right here. So it takes a little measuring, and that's why I talked about taking your set of veneer calipers and doing this right here. This is what, and I've already got them marked off. And we take a couple of kind of, haphazard measurements, and we start out by doing, just this, where everything starts at, all the way back to the fender well, to the start of the wheel tubs, and taking and measuring this out. So you'll take a measurement kind of right here at the start and kind of come up about 1 inch on that fender well, make you a couple of marks right there to where Once you start bringing it up, then you'll kind of start figuring out where to, what you need. And I just take one of these, I take a Sharpie, and we draw that out right down through there. Then we just kind of, I like to take and probably just kind of look at that, comparison to this right here, see if we're doing, got the same measurement going on up through there. Then we come up to where the very top of the fender well is going to be at, and you take a measurement right there. Then you come up here, and this is actually, the back half is actually narrower than this right here. So it's no harm, no foul, because that's going to be covered up with the B-pillars right here, so you won't even see those. And also, we're going to try to, we're going to utilize this back package tray onto this piece right here. So got that picked out, and it's sitting over there in the wings waiting to be measured out and cut eventually. The other place that's very critical is back here toward the back, and I take that measurement right there. And again, you can either use this side or you can use this side right here. So we're all good right down through there. I have pretty much, I'm going to take a little bit off of that that section where you can see where I've already marked that off at there. And that pretty much, is going to, save the, get everything into the frame itself and kind of get some things mocked up. Now, what do I do when I cut these? I will tell you what, while I'm at it, and I keep feeling my finger hit the rear end right here, I'm going to take this rear end. I've only got two ladder bar, or two of the swing arms on it. So we'll take that off, and we'll put that to the side until needed. And then what do I use to cut this off with? I just have my Dremel and a cutoff disc, and I will just cut right into there and come into here and just cut that off, just shape that up with this cutting wheel here. Same thing right in here. Once I get all that shaped up and cut in, I will take I usually take a real coarse 100 grit sandpaper or sanding stick, and then we'll come in here and we'll shape that up real neatly, and then we flip it over, and we'll check it with that right there. See how much I left on the left on this little piece of styrene right here. And then once I get everything shaped up, I'll even shape up that little piece of styrene that I put in right there also, with the sanding stick and maybe a grinding stone on my Dremel. But as far as the length and everything, it's not that much difference. I'm hoping that if the worst case scenario that I have to, I may have to lay a piece of styrene flush right here, and I might even just take and cut that particular rib off and extend that out with styrene and then put that right there. That way my bumper extensions will fit on the car itself. So, but so far so good. We're doing. We're gonna get this. We'll get this ground down in here. Get everything shaped up tonight, and then we'll check, see how everything marries together into that. That fender, as far as the top of this, the top of the wheel tubs will actually probably just be right on top of that, right up under the A-pillar right there. So they will actually rest, and if I feel that they'll rest pretty nicely in there. There's no protrusions or anything. And then too, when you're doing some of your measuring also, take your pointed ends of the veneers and go in there and just kind of, take a few measurements in there and just see how they're how everything's measuring up right in here. So I got plenty of room. It's actually about the same distance from there to there, the edge of the fender tubs. Now, in a later in the coming videos, I'm going to show you how I set the ride height on this. And with a 4-link suspension, as far as in the rear, What really will set the ride height will be based upon the coilovers that goes in these two holes right here. So I will adjust them as far as how deep they go. And, you know, how you don't want on a pro street, you don't want it to look like that. You want them things to be up in there and have just a minimal amount of clearance on those wheel tubs, to where you get that low and mean stink eye stance, what I like to call it. And also, and I will show you how I like to get the front ends lowered on this. And actually, by actually using the K member that comes with this, because really it's not that hard. All you're going to do is, these are the tires that I will be using on this, and they're pretty high right now, but I want those things to be tucked up in that fender well, which is going to allow me to just take and I'll cut this axle stem off right here. I'll cut it off with a razor saw, and then we'll make another axle. And we'll see where it needs to go at further, like right up in here on this axle housing. So we'll trim that off, move, and make a new axle that comes up right in here, and we'll see where that lands. And then once we're able to take this, get this married into the body like that, we'll be able to see where that tire goes up in that fender well. We'll show you right here, because right there is about, if I don't have to take out anything up in here as far as in these engine fender wells, if I don't remove those completely, that's about where it'll be at. But that's going to put that axle stub a little higher on that steering linkage right there. So I think that will be just a perfect that'll be a perfect height right there for me for that. And then once we set the rear ride height, I like for that to be somewhere right around in there. So it's not hard to do that. When you just have to plan ahead. That's what happens a lot of times when you're trying to get a car finished, or you're getting excited about how that thing's starting to look, and you'll be like, man, I want to hurry up and finish this thing. But take your time with it, and that way you can get a great looking build on the table. Now, also talked about earlier, we're using the big block, the 426 Hemi. This is the kit engine. I've already got it all put together. I got the oil pan. I got the two engine halves and transmission halves glued together. I got the heads on it, and I got the water pump and all that put on it itself. So we'll get that detailed up in some painting here in a little while. Now, one of the things I was talking about, this is going to be a blown engine, as far as it'll have a big 871 sitting on it. I went through my parts box, and I found a blower, which I cast these not too long ago. We got this pulled it out of the box. I got the front half on it right there. Got the back housing ready to go on it as well. And what I'm going to do is, I didn't have the blower manifold. I didn't have one to fit it. Well, I did. It was for a Chevrolet though, where it had the Chevrolet blower manifold has the distributor housing out the back, and then it's got the water pump connection right here. I didn't want to use that. Didn't want to try to modify it. Well, the kit, the 426 Hemi manifold has a carburetor manifold that has 2 4s on it. I took and I just made me a real nice manifold out of that. This is where the distributor will go. I still retain the little as far as the mounting pin right there. Drop that right down in there. We'll get that mounted. We'll get all that, get everything glued up on this, but we'll get the positioning on that. And also, what I'm going to try to do here is just see how that looks kind of mocked up, just to see. Let me get 2 pieces of foam right here. I always keep foam around the bench. That way I got something where I can lift it up off of the builder mat. And then, bam, we got that right there. There's my friend. And that is just a freaking, that's going to look awesome. Look at that. Yeah, I like that. So, with that being said, in the next few videos, I'll show y'all what I do to get that, make sure everything, plays perfectly. But everything is pretty much well come out of the Revell 68 Dart kit. The engine did, the blower did not. That was some of my stuff that I have casted. And the only thing that don't come in that kit is the back half that you can get right there from MCV Products. Go over to mcvproducts.net, pick you up some of that nice, some of those awesome 3D printed parts that he sells over there, and tell him that Pappy sent you over. Also, if you're looking for some ProTech goodies, which I'm going to be using some ProTech goodies on this particular build, go over there and get you some of those. Well, Matthew is a ProTech dealer. All right, well, that pretty much concludes that. So on the next episode, part 3, when you see that, I'll have all the, I'll have all this fitting nicely into the body, and then we'll work on trying to get the stance on the front wheels, where I want them, and possibly might even have this thing on a rolling chassis. We'll just see what we do from there. Anyhow, folks, have a great rest of your week. Remember, folks, if you can dream it, build it. God bless y'all. Pappy out of here.